Hi everyone. So in this recording, we'll be discussing how to host or publish our web page or the web application, whatever we have done so far over here. We'll be publishing it in two different windows, one with respect to with the help of our GitHub pages and the other one with the help of our Netlify account over here. So far till date, we have covered our resume, right? With the help of a web application here. We have built a resume with the help of our HTML tags over here. And this is how our resume is looking over here, right? So we can host this particular web page on our GitHub pages at the same time on the other application called as Netlify. So first thing, let's understand what exactly is the GitHub pages over here. So let's just go ahead and I will just say GitHub pages over here. So let's just go with the GitHub pages. And if I just go with the very first site over here, where we can see we can host our website or any projects directly on our GitHub repository. So host it directly from your GitHub repository, just edit, push, and your changes are live over there. Okay, so for that, let's just go ahead and we will try to create some new projects over here. That's nothing but we'll try to host some new projects over here. So I just go to browser and let's say I want to log into my GitHub. So I directly have my GitHub account access over here, or you can directly search for GitHub. And right now I will just get started with my GitHub over here. And now if you can see, I'm already logged into my GitHub. So in case if you haven't logged in, if you don't have any GitHub account, you can directly go and search with GitHub. And then you can log in or create a GitHub account with the help of your username, followed by one email ID and password over there. In my case, my username is Rohan1917. And then I will just go ahead here, and once you register to your GitHub pages, on the top, you can see we have overview, repositories, project, and other different options, right? Might be you, in your case, you will not get the similar page. I modified my GitHub account where people can directly go and have complete access about me. So in order to get that, you can just search with my name, or you can directly go to GitHub pages with this user ID. So right now I will just go ahead. In your case, you'll not be having this right hand section, but you will see an option called repositories. Click on that particular one. I already have some set of repositories, so kindly ignore that. And I will just click on a new repository over here. Let's say new. And then I will create a repository name over here. Let's say I want to go with my resume. Okay, so let's say my resume. You can write anything, but I would like to go with a repository name called as my resume demo. Okay, let's just go with my resume demo. And then if you can see, I just kept the description is optional. You can go and write some description as well. And you can go with public or private access specifier. Let's go with public because it's totally free, whereas private we need to pay certain lump sum amount over there. And I will just click on add a readme file. I want to have this particular file, so please make a note. You need to write repository name. It can be anything of your choice, and I will keep the public as the default, and I will just check mark add a readme file. Okay, that's nothing but a description file for my project. Let's click on create repository here. It will just create a repo on my application. So if we can see, I just got the repository, my resume demo, and I just got that GitHub, readme.md file with the help of our GitHub initiator over there. So now we can just click on this add a file, and we will just add our current file. That's nothing but the resume page over here. And make a note, in our case in the editor, we wrote the page name as resume.html, right? But the starting point of any sort of HTML files would be always index.html. So for that, let me just go ahead here. I will just create a folder called as resume, and let's go within that resume, and I would like to move this resume.html within the resume over here. Let's move. It's asking, are you sure want to move this particular one? Yes, please move it. And then I will rename the file name from resume to index.html. So please make a note, your project or any sort of HTML projects or web page, it should always start with the index.html. So now we can directly move this particular one here. So I'm just copying or dragging that particular one, and we can add it over here. Okay, or let's do one thing. In order to add that, I will just click on create new upload files, and then I will just drag and drop them here. Or you can just go with choose your files. You can browse in your machine, or you can just drag and drop that particular one. Okay, let's drag this index.html. Let's go to the browser, and I'll just drop that particular file over here. Okay, it's not giving the permission directly from the editor, so let's go and choose it from our local permission. So for that, I will click on this choose your file over here, and I'm having my index file within a folder called web development, where we created a folder called resume. So within that subfolder, we have a file called index.html. So I'll just click on open over here. So, and if you can see, it's just saying uploading one files of one over here, and we just uploaded a file, and you can write some commit changes. Let's say I just go with added index.html. So let's say I want to commit directly to the main branch. Let's go with the same thing. I will just say commit changes. So let's go and commit that particular one. It's processing our files. It will take just a couple of seconds here. And if we can see, we just loaded our index.html, which got added over here. Correct? So now in order to host this particular one, we can directly go, and if you can see on the top, we have a code, issues, pull request, and other options, right? So if I just go to settings over here, the very last option. So let's click on settings over here, and then if we can see on the left side navigation bar, we do have pages over here. So let's click on that particular pages, and it's asking us to deploy from a branch. Yes, please go ahead and deploy it from the branch only. I will just keep it as default, and I need to select from which particular branch here, right? So I'll just say on, I will just hit on this particular none drop down over here, and I will just go with the main branch only. And then let's click on save. It will just take some couple of seconds over here in order to load your GitHub. So if you can see, it's just saying GitHub pages so saved. It will take few seconds in order to load your GitHub page, and it will deploy that particular link over here. Now we can directly go back to a code on the top left, and we just need to wait here. If we can see, we are getting a orange like button here, right? Or orange like bubble on the screen indicating it's in a pending status. So wait for a few seconds unless it may turn into a green color here indicating it's been hosted. At the same time, we don't have anything called release here or packages. So let's wait. It's in orange indicating it's in a pending status. We can just refresh for a couple of seconds or for a couple of times until it turn into green checkmark. See, now it just turned into green checkmark indicating success. So now I can just see on the right hand side, we have a deployment over here. Under the deployment sections, we have GitHub pages. So now I can directly hit on this particular one. So now let's just hit on that particular one. And if you can see, we got GitHub pages, which last deployed just few minutes back. That's nothing but now with a URL with my GitHub ID followed by my resume demo repository name over here. So now let's click on this particular one. It will just load our resume. See, it just loaded our project. So now anyone can share this particular link anywhere on your LinkedIn or any other social media or whatsoever, and you can just share your resume directly with the help of this particular link here. See, that's the beauty of this particular hosting with the help of your GitHub pages over here. So now if I click on education, it's still working. If I click on project, it's still working as expected. And it just loaded everything the way how we expected here, right? So if I just go ahead, and if you remember, we have something called back to top. It will directly take us to the top. Even that's working. But we have one more option called as about us, right? If I click on this thing, I am ending with no internet connection over here. My bad, I just lost the connection. So let's give it a try once again. So now if I just refresh, and if I just click on about us over here, if we can see, we just got an error message stating as 404 indicating file not found. Why is that? Because if you remember, we have about us in the footer over here, where we have a separate HTML page with the name called as about us here, right? Which we haven't pushed to our GitHub account. So if I just go back to our GitHub account right now, we don't have it about us over here, right? So let's go and add that particular file as well. That's nothing but if we can see, everything is working on this hosted web page. Even education, we are able to navigate. Similarly, we are able to navigate to work, project, all those things. Even back to top is working, but your about us is not working over here. Why? Because we don't have that file on our GitHub over here. Then how do we update that particular one? So for that, let's just move this about.us HTML to resume. I just moved about us HTML file to resume folder, and then let's just go back to a browser and let's click on add file over here. I will just go with upload files again. And then let me hit on choose your files over here, and then let's just go and select that particular file here. So now if I can see, I'm in the same folder called resume, I'm having about us. So let's add that particular one. Let's click on open, and then let's wait for the file to get uploaded. Let's say add it about us over here. Let's click on create changes or commit that particular changes over here. And let's wait for the processing to get completed, and if you can see, it's just done. And you can see it's again in the pending status here, right? In the same code request, it's again in the pending request indicating that without we going and deploying it, it's automatically getting deployed. That's the beauty of this GitHub pages. If we can see, hosted directly from your GitHub repository. Just edit. What did we edit right now? We added a file called about us, push it to your GitHub account. We added that particular one, and your changes are live without any sort of modifications. It's in pending status. Let's go and refresh again, and then if we can just see, it's in again in the pending. Okay, so it's still in the pending status, and we have two deployments, one with the previous one, so kindly ignore that. Let's wait for the deployment to get completed. It will take few minutes or few seconds, and then our site is live over here. So let's wait, and if I just refreshed, we can see it just got added successfully, and we have the deployments which just got updated few seconds back. That's nothing but now. Let's click on this GitHub pages again, and now if I just go and hit on the same repo link or the hosted page, we just see we got a page loaded over here. And then if I just go and click on about us over here, see, we started to get about us on our hosted site as well. So now I can directly go and share this particular link anywhere, be it on your LinkedIn, Instagram, or any other recruiters, wherever they want to see your resume. We can directly go and share this particular URL over there. Again, make a note, while adding any sort of HTML page or any other pages, please go with the relative path. That's nothing but having it on the same folder or something. If you're having a different folder, use the absolute path positions accordingly. Not to use your local C, D, E and other things, because we are adding it directly to in your GitHub pages over here. The way how we added our application on GitHub, so anyone can just go and use our resume without even deploying it on their site over there. That's nothing but, let's say if I just go with my name over here, so I will just search my complete name. I will just wrap my name in a double quotes over here in order to share this thing with the recruiter. And the second link is nothing but my GitHub over here, so the recruiters can directly go ahead here. And then let's click on repositories, and then we can see we have my resume demo over here. So I can directly go and share this link as well, so that the recruiters can see the source code. At the same time, they can directly go and host it here. See, if the recruiters directly go and see the source code, they can even go and deploy it on their machine without even doing any sort of additional works. So they can directly go and just click on this URL, and it will load your outcome. As of now, it's a single resume over here, but you can host any sort of web pages. In a similar way, I'll show you one more thing where you can just go and host your web page for free. We can directly go and search for Netlify as well. Just search with Netlify and go with the very first one over here, where we can host our web page as well. You need to log in over here to your GitHub account. So if you are here for the first time, please sign up and link your GitHub account over there. Right now I already have an account in the Netlify, so I'll just go with the login option. But do remember, while logging in or sign up, use the same GitHub where you're deploying the code over there. So let's say Netlify, I will just go with the login option. It will just take some time to log in, and it will ask or authenticate you with the help of your GitHub page over there. See, since I already have this particular one, it's directly going with the same GitHub ID. See, that's nothing but my GitHub name, and it will directly take me to that particular page over here. So where we can directly go and launch our web page over here. Kindly use the same GitHub ID. Okay, so if you can see on the URL, it's having my GitHub ID, same thing what I'm using in my hosted resume demo repository name, right? So that's how we can directly go and host in our Netlify as well. In my case, I already have some sites over here which has been hosted. Kindly ignore that. And then we can just go with something called add new site on the right hand side. Let's click on this particular one. It will just say import an existing project or start from a template or deploy manually. I just go with an existing project. Why? Because we already have this project existing in our GitHub repo. So let's go and say import an existing repository, and it will just ask you, where do you want to go and get your project? Is it from GitHub or GitLab or Bitbucket or Azure DevOps? Right now we have in GitHub, so let's go with the GitHub, and then it will just authenticate your GitHub, and then we can just go and host our web page. So let's say authorize Netlify. So I just click on that particular one, and it will just authorize my application. It's stating it's been authorized, and it will get that particular project here. See, it's just asking which particular repository. So we went with a name called as resume, right? So let's just search with resume over here. It will show all the repositories, and the moment I search with resume, we can see it's just uploaded 4 minutes ago. This is the site. Let's go with this particular one only. So I just go with this thing. Team name, I would like to keep it as Rohan. If you want to change the site name, you can change it over here. Kindly ignore for time being. I will just keep everything default. I'm deploying it from the main branch, and I'm just keeping everything as default over here. So let's say I want to deploy my resume demo here. Let's click on this particular one, It will take few seconds to host your application. Let's wait, and our application will be live over here. So you can see we started getting a message stating site deploy in progress. So let's wait for the particular one to get completed, and then we can share our repository or our code deployment with anyone or anywhere across the internet. So let's wait for the deployment to get completed, and then we can just go and host or see the hosted application on our site as well. See, it's stating deploy from GitHub, and we just got a particular one indicating it's been deployed. So now I just right click here. Let's open the link in a new tab. I will just go and open that particular one, and if you can see, it's just hosted here. And we got a different URL when compared to a GitHub. We had github.io, whereas in case of Netlify, we just got netlify.app followed by some junk value or some random values over there. Again, you can just go and cross check anything. So if I click on education, it will take me to education. If I click on about us, it will take us to about us. The same way how we have, it's totally flexible and it will still work as usual. Okay, if I click on back to top, it will directly go to the top of the section. Again, if we can see, we have some URL here, right? We can again go and host or share this particular URL with anywhere across the internet. It can be on your LinkedIn or whatsoever, but still, if we can see, our URL is not so well maintained, right? Can we change or can we update the URL? Yes, you guys can. How is it possible? Let's just go to Netlify, and if you can see, we have site configurations here, right? Let's click on site configuration, and then let's start keep scrolling towards the bottom here. And if you can see, we have changed site name here, right? So let's click on that particular one, and this is a site name what we are seeing on our UI. See, some random name with .ne extensions or some other extensions, right? So I can directly go ahead here and let's say Rohan Kinal resume. And now this is how our URL will be looking like. So we have https:// the site name, that's nothing but Rohan Kinal resume.netlify app. Let's click on save, and it will take few seconds to update the current one. And if I just go all the way to stop, we can see we got this as the URL for our hosted application, and we can see the right hand side. This is how our URL or our web page will be looking. So let's click on this URL again, and then if we can see, we just got our site name updated over here with the name whatever we provided over there. So now I can just go and share this thing with others as well. So that's how we can directly go and host any sort of projects directly in your GitHub with the help of GitHub pages. Nor we can go with a Netlify by connecting to a GitHub, and we can host and we can change our site configurations as well. That's how we can directly go and host any sort of web page on our GitHub pages or on our Netlify. So that's it for this particular recording. Thank you for watching. Hope all of you enjoyed and learned how to deploy a project and all the other stuffs. So thank you all. Thank you for watching.